Hi, everyone. Welcome to Made with Love, day 8. What a beautiful day. Day 8, the sign of infinity. So just imagine that sign, something that has no beginning and no end. And I think it's really neat that we decide to speak about some of the topics that we are called What Are You Feeding on a day like today? Because what we are feeding really embodies the soul of our energy. And what we are feeding not only develops the soul of our energy, but gives our energy soul. So hopefully you've had some time in the last 24 hours or so to kind of digest, no pun intended, some of the information that I've shared. We've been building on each day the last 8 days in some mindful awareness and how that awareness can really soften our edges and open our hearts to all things, all processes, all beings, and in a space that comes from love and in light. And when we have this open heart and this open frame, we're able to create a realm, a vortex that is feeding light and love and peace, and potentially any of the other energies that you want to add into that space that accumulates and builds and manifests into some of your actions, your habits, and therefore the story in which you're telling right now. So, as we start to really think about how what we are digesting from our six senses, how that affects us, we begin to realize that it's not just food that we are putting in that communicates and projects and reflects what it is we are giving, but rather it's all of the things in our environment. It's where we live, who we live with, light, sound, touch, our emotions, what we're experiencing. And that brings us to a really, really, really big piece of energy: communication. How we are speaking, what it is we're saying, and what we're delivering is a very huge contribution we make to a cycle. Our words, our actions, our behaviors, they all pay tribute to a cycle that either feeds healing, that restorative motion that's always taking place within our vessel from the inside out, or it feeds abuse. And that's also feeding a cycle of very detrimental, negative, low vibrational energies that we are taking, and it's doing nothing to help invigorate, regenerate, healing, or growth. So let's peel that apart a little bit. And I want to talk about a little teeny. Hi, guys. Hi, Morgan. Hi, Daniel. I want to talk about a little teeny space within our body. So go ahead and take your little pointer finger, and I want you to place it to the very back of your head. And in the very back of your head, you're going to feel some little nodules, some little bones, some little indents right in the space in which you can feel that little indention off the base where your skull is curved. Right underneath that bone and that tissue and that energy that is supporting your skull, right? You have some layers there. When we get through that visceral layer, the layer that is next to the organ, right? And we get against our brain, there's a little teeny tiny space. and it's called the hippocampus. Right? Yes, occipital. We have these occipital little areas, little nudges. Yes. So when we dive into that space, we connect with our hippocampus, right? And this area of our brain has a really big job. It's tiny, but it has a really, really, really big job. And its job is regulate, to regulate our hormones. Now, what do hormones do? Hormones generate function. So they have to work together, right? So this little guy, this little lima bean, right? It gives messages to other parts of our body that either drop and drip energy in a positive way or are stressed and shocked because it's trying to work, but there's nothing there. And so it has to turn to other areas of our body to do the job. Now, think about this. Think about all of these different spaces within our bodies, all working to keep us alive. Our heart, it's beating. Our breath, it's breathing. Our eyes, they're blinking, right? We have all of these little actions that are taking place within our vessel simultaneously at the same exact time. In fact, we've done so many things in the last few seconds for our vitality that we're unconscious of it because our body was given to us with this beautiful, amazing ability to heal itself. And we were given this body born into free will, another opportunity to have decisions. And we were given this body with free will to live in an abundant space called Earth. Yes, our bodies, Rebecca, are an amazing work of art, right? But let's just think about that, right? We were given these beautiful bodies that were made to heal itself. We were born with free will and ability to choose, to think, to feel. And then we were dropped off in this beautiful space called Earth that is filled abundantly with Earth's gifts that are there to supplement us as humans so that we can feed and heal and vibrate and resonate and thrive. Pretty big thoughts, right? All true. So when we realize that this little teeny, 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 teeny part in our brain, hippocampus, has the job to regulate major functions in our body, if you knew that and you knew that you were able to be that free thinker and feeler and use this abundance from the earth to help supplement and heal you, would you? Would you, if I told you how to use that tiny little space within your brain to your advantage and to feed it with good vibrations through your six senses, would you believe that it has a massive capacity to do great things for you and for the greatness of mankind? Because it does. What does it take? Consciousness, availability, presence, and an awareness to know that what you are putting in you right now is affecting the way that little teeny tiny bean, your hippocampus, is working. And based on how that little guy feels, that's how the rest of you is going to feel too. So, when you understand that you are in charge, that you are the creator of you, and that you have the ability to put things within you that are vibrating in the highest of highs and in alignment with your truth to support your goals and your overall same being. Would you? Would you do it? Because it starts with that awareness. It starts with you accepting that responsibility and you consciously making a choice each and every day to connect with yourself and to feed yourself from your elements that you're receiving and digesting from. The most organic and readily available nutrient from Earth's garden. That means paying attention to what you're listening to, paying attention to what you're seeing, paying attention to the interactions you have with other beings. And if it's an abusive interaction that hurts you, or if it's a supportive interaction that loves you and uplifts you. Pay attention to how you feel when you are in devotion. Pay attention to where you give your most energy. Does it give you or take from you? Pay attention to how your fingers feel. There's a lot of nerves in them and they touch many things. So think about this. If your hands have nerve endings, right? If our skin has nerve endings, everything it's touching is receiving and digesting. That means the lotions you're putting on, that means the heat or the cold that you're in, that means the things that you're touching or wearing. That means the energy that you may or may not pick up from being with others, let alone a virus, right? That's a whole nother Facebook. But for today, I want you to spend some time getting to know a few of my friends, their names. Hippocampus. I'm going to write that down right now. I spelled that right. I'm the worst speller in the world, but I'm working on it. Okay. My next friend, serotonin. I'm pretty sure I'm spelling these things wrong. Don't judge me. Dopamine. So these three guys. Oh, I have one more. Cortisol. These four friends, they work a lot together. So we have this little teeny tiny bean at the back of our head that is really telling everybody he's the boss, telling everybody what to do. And he's connecting and he's sending all of his messages into the body through a few different vehicles through blood, your hormones, and your oxygen. Okay. And your bones and your muscles, they're holding all of this beautiful body together and creating form. And through its form, we have your hormones and your blood and your oxygen that moves through it. So we always want to create circulation, flow. And we create circulation and flow with having intentions through all of our six senses that move, that feel good. We know when things get stuck. Remember, it stops moving. It doesn't feel good. That's our body saying, not working, not for me. Honor that. Listen to yourself, right? However, we have this amazing little messenger called dopamine who loves to give us pressure and pleasure. Okay. And it is from the pressure that dopamine sends through our blood that we receive pleasure in the form of our body, right? Have fun with that, guys and girls. However, this pressure and pleasure that dopamine is sending out is a lovely thing because when dripped and dropped and dosed properly, it gives us this incredible sense of happiness and feel goods, right? Now, cortisol always gets a bad rap because people are always afraid they're making too much. And you'll know if you are because you might have some extra energy in your tummy. But cortisol plays in this beautiful, loving relationship with your hippocampus and your serotonin and your dopamine because cortisol is an incredible filter that delivers essentials. Now, the whole purpose of this is to make things more available and absorbent within our body. An overdose of the cortisol will create pressure that shows itself in the form of anxiety. Or some of you might recognize this phrase fight or flight. Fight or flight. And that's usually something that is triggered when we feel like we need to respond quickly, right? We go into a fight or flight mode. And sometimes that happens for us without us even realizing we're there. And that's usually when it's too late. Now, the more time we spend in fight or flight, surviving, protecting, defending, the more time we spend there, the more cortisol we're producing. Now, remember, cortisol has a great attribute, but too much of it will be detrimental to our system, right? Too much of anything that's essential is non essential. So, let's talk about serotonin. Now, she is one of my favorite friends because when she drops in to say hello, she delivers peace, she delivers relaxation, right? She delivers a sensation that feels like ease throughout my body. These chemicals are all dropped, dripped, and created from that little bean, that little boss. And when he connects to the other spaces that regulate our body, there's some incredible deliveries that happen. Most are in our favor because our body is meant to receive and to heal. So it will always do that job first. When it's overwhelmed, depleted, flooded, it has nothing to utilize. So that's where Earth's medicines come in. That's when knowing how to self love yourself can be applied and support your overall goods. We want to make sure that you always have an investment in your bank account because there will be days that you will need extra nutrients and extra supplies for all those people doing their jobs to get the job done, especially when you are fighting something, right? Let's say you're fighting stress off or you're fighting a bug off or a virus. You need extra. So if you're not taking in that extra daily, you want to make sure it's available in your reservoir. And the best way to do that is to always make sure you are doing 80% of the goods and leaving 20% for the funds, for the moderations, for the not so good, right? But 80% for the goods. And as we begin to unfold more and more of these days, we're going to accumulate some tools that help your systems create a whole lot of good and a vibration that is filled in light and in love. Because when you are receiving the light, you are giving it. When you are receiving love, you are giving it. You truly are what you eat. And trust me on this one, you're eating a whole lot more than food. You are digesting every moment to every moment, this moment here and now, from your six senses. And all of us have all six. As we become more and more conscious and awakened, we develop those senses. We practice using those senses. And it is through those senses that we then can sense what feels good and is in alignment with us and what we want to keep doing and what isn't. Let's meditate on that. Let's take a nice deep breath in and slowly exhale. Just release for a moment what doesn't belong to you. Draw in this conscious space of knowing that we all have incredible opportunity to learn and to discover how we work, what's coming in and what's going out, and what energy is exchanged in between those spaces. As we breathe into this moment, may we all feel the light. Allow that light to give us peace and relax every part of us so that when our insides are finding their alignment, we can feel our strong, our reservoir of all that is needed to be used as a vessel of greatness. May everything that come to you be in light and love. May everything that moves through you be light and love. Take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Open your eyes and feel this moment with me and with you. I hope you all have a beautiful and blessed day and enjoy this evening, taking and receiving and giving all that you learn in light and in love. Feed well, my friends. You're worth it. Have a good night. Peace.